What if falling apart is the moment you finally wake up? You thought you were breaking down, but maybe you were breaking open. When your world stops making sense, it might not be the end. It might be your soul finally refusing to live the lie. Everything collapsing? That could be the truth, trying to surface. And what happens next changes everything. Spiritual awakening isn't soft. It doesn't whisper affirmations or hand you peace. It starts with collapse of identity, meaning, control. The things you trusted suddenly crack wide open. You feel lost, confused, even broken. But here's the truth nobody tells you. That's not failure. That's the beginning. Because awakening doesn't start with light. It starts with the fall. There's a moment why awakening feels like falling apart, almost unnoticeable, when everything you once cared about starts to feel empty. The job, the social media likes, the 5-year plan, it all begins to lose its color. You might still smile, go to work, answer texts like everything's fine, but underneath, something's unraveling. It's not depression, it's not failure, it's your soul, tapping on the glass asking, is this really it? What used to drive you now feels like a performance. What used to fulfill you now echoes with hollowness. You're not lazy, you're not unmotivated, you're waking up from a life that was never truly yours. This is the first crack in the illusion, and once it starts, there's no unseeing it. You're not falling behind, you're falling through the false, and that's the only way to reach what's real. Let's get something straight. Spiritual awakening isn't all angel numbers and peace signs. You won't float into enlightenment wrapped in white robes, smiling while the universe sends you daily miracles. That version? It's a fantasy sold by people who skip the storm. Because the real beginning feels like grief, not joy, not bliss. Grief. You start losing your grip on your identity, your beliefs, your sense of safety. And that's not because you're doing it wrong. It's because your soul is clearing space. Before truth arrives, everything false has to burn. And that fire, it's messy, it's painful, it's sacred. So if you're not seeing rainbows and synchronicities, good. You're in the real part. Don't chase the light. Embrace the breakdown. That's where the truth begins. Ever felt like you were disappearing? And it terrified you. That's not anxiety, that's ego death. The version of you that was built to survive, to please, to perform, to fit in, is starting to fall apart. And your nervous system, it's freaking out. Not because you're in danger, but because you're stepping outside the script. The ego doesn't go quietly. It clings. It panics. It whispers, "Without me, who are you?" And that's the question, isn't it? Who are you when you're no longer pretending? This panic isn't a mistake. It's the friction of transformation. The old identity is dissolving, not to destroy you, but to reveal the self that's been buried underneath. That tightness in your chest, that fear in your gut, it's not your end, it's your ego, exhaling for the first time. Then it hits, the silence, the stillness that feels like nothing. You're not just confused anymore, you're hollow, detached, like the lights went out inside and no one left a map. This is the part no one warns you about, the dark night of the soul. It feels like depression, but it's not. It's a spiritual initiation, a descent into everything you've ignored, denied, or buried. Carl Jung called it the night sea journey. You're not malfunctioning, you're being emptied on purpose. Because distraction can't live here. Numbing doesn't work anymore. And in this silence, you meet yourself. Not the version you show the world, the one underneath it all. Unfiltered, unmasked, and unedited. It's terrifying, but it's also sacred. You're not in the dark because you're lost. You're in the dark because that's where your light is being born. And then everything starts falling away. Not just your beliefs, but people, places, passions, whole parts of your personality. Friends don't feel like home anymore. Your hobbies feel empty. Even your voice might sound unfamiliar. It's like your old self is dissolving in real time, and no one told you how much that would hurt. But this isn't you losing everything. This is you shedding what was never truly yours. You're not being abandoned. You're being realigned. What doesn't resonate can't stay, and it shouldn't. Like a snake shedding its skin, you're letting go of what no longer fits your frequency. And yes, it's lonely. Yes, it's confusing. But guilt has no place here. This isn't rejection, it's resonance. Let the past fall away, not in anger, but in peace. You're not breaking connections. You're making space for the real ones. Then comes the part no one prepares you for, the void. You're not in pain anymore, but you're not inspired either. You're not breaking down, but you're not building anything new. You feel numb, drifting, like a ghost in your own life. This isn't failure, it's detox. You've cleared out so much of what wasn't you, but the next version of you hasn't landed yet. And that in-between space, it feels like nothing, but it's everything. This is the womb of your becoming. Still, silent, uncomfortable, but holy. Most people rush to escape this part. They panic, fill it with noise. But the ones who sit with the void, who listen instead of run, those are the ones who emerge different. Don't try to force clarity. Let the silence work on you. This isn't emptiness, it's preparation. You're waking up, but it feels like you're waking up alone. You start noticing things others don't. You crave depth, truth, stillness, while the world keeps spinning in distraction. And suddenly, conversations feel hollow. Crowds feel loud. Even people you once loved feel distant. You're not better than them. You're just vibrating differently now. This is spiritual isolation, when your soul expands but your circle shrinks.
And your body, it's catching up. Wake-ups at 3 a.m., random waves of grief or joy, moments of stillness that make no sense. You're not broken. You're being rewired. Your nervous system is adjusting to your new frequency. It's not a breakdown. It's an upgrade. If you feel alone right now, it's because you've outgrown the noise. And the quiet, it's where your next tribe will find you. Then one day, something changes. Not in some grand explosion of light, but in a small, quiet way. You catch yourself laughing, and it's real. You watch the sun set, and it moves you. You breathe, and it feels like enough. No one tells you how subtle healing can be. How peace doesn't arrive with fireworks. It just stops requiring a reason. You're not back to normal. You're beyond it. You've stopped needing to prove. Stopped needing to perform. Stopped needing life to be perfect. You're not chasing peace anymore. You're becoming it. This is integration. Not an escape from life, but a return to it. Rooted, awake, and real. You didn't lose yourself. You remembered who you were before the world told you who to be. So if your world is falling apart, if nothing makes sense, if you feel like a stranger in your own life, you're not lost. You're being reborn. This isn't the end. It's the unraveling before the remembering. The storm before the stillness. The undoing of everything you were never meant to carry. Because awakening isn't about escaping the world. It's about coming back to it, with new eyes, a quiet mind, and a heart that finally knows peace. You didn't break. You broke open. And what's rising from that wreckage is the real you. If this spoke to something deep inside you, you're not alone. Subscribe, not just for the next video, but to walk this path together. Next up, awakening to our higher self. What that really means. You're ready for it.